Shall we start, ma'am? A very pleasant morning to all who are all in the journey of learning and enlightenment, remembering and recollecting. It gives me an immense pleasure to extend my warm welcome to all the students, research scholars, and profound professors to this two-day e-seminar organized by Sri S. Ramasamy Naidu Memorial College, Sattur, and APC Mahalakshmi College for Women, Thuthukudi, in collaboration with iSpell Tamil Nadu Forum, which is going to pave a way for success in clearing NTA net. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to be start to be great. Without any delay, let's start the session. I would like to invite Dr. S. Jayanti, Assistant Professor of English, Sri S. Ramasamy Naidu Memorial College, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Maheshini. Esteemed Principal of our college, Dr. S. Ganeshram, Principal of APC Mahalakshmi College, Dr. Vasugi, Founder and General Secretary of iSpell India, Dr. Ghanshyam, the Head Department of English, Dr. Sumati, distinguished members of the iSpell Committee, acclaimed academicians, scholars, and my dear students. A pleasant morning to all on this wonderful day. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome one and all on this virtual platform to the two-day e-seminar on NTA Net. I always deem it a great joy to welcome our beloved principal, Dr. Ganeshram, for his optimistic enthusiasm, which pervades all in the vicinity and brings out the best in us. He always encourages us to explore new avenues and work towards excellence. I'm indeed proud to welcome Professor Vasugi, Principal of APC Mahalakshmi College, Thuthukudi, for her generosity in accepting to host this event together. I am indeed proud to be associated with an enigma who never stops inspiring us, a relentless, non-stop, hard task master, Dr. Ghanshyam, for creating a platform to reach the unreached. When I approached him with this idea of doing something for the NET aspirants, he encouraged the proposal and gave a green signal. It was he who coined this title and blowed the whistle to get, set, go. I welcome you, sir. I take pleasure in welcoming our respected head of the department, Dr. Sumati, for her insightful words and encouragement and support in all our department activities. I'm honored and welcome the distinguished members of the iSpell committee. They are always there to support and encourage us in our progress. I welcome you all, madams and sirs. I take this opportunity to welcome and thank our resource persons, Mr. Verghese and Ananda Krishnan, for accepting the invitation to share their expertise with the participants and take this day to a new level. I'm sure at the end of the session, we will be taking with us more than what we already have. I welcome you, my dear friends. I will invite all my academic colleagues from other colleges all over India and my college for being a great moral support and being part of this journey to light a small lamp which would illuminate the life of many. I welcome my scholar friends and dear students who are going to be the ultimate benefiters of these 2 days. I welcome you all to make the most of these 2 days. Feel free to ask questions, clear your doubts. No questions on our mind is silly or unimportant. Drive towards getting answers to your questions. I welcome you all to chase your dreams. Keep pushing through your dreams. Keep pushing through the storm. You're going to make it. Remember, new beginnings are waiting just beyond the clouds for you and you only. Once again, I welcome one and all to be on these 2 days on this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. It's indeed a pleasure. It's my privilege to take this opportunity to introduce the keynote speaker, Mr. K.M. Varghese, who has cleared NET 4 times and set once. He started his career as Assistant Professor of English in Nalanda International Public School and Junior College, Krishnagiri, and served as head of the department there for 3 years. And now He is working as Assistant Professor of English in St. Joseph's College, Trichy. He also served as special faculty member and language trainer at Leeds in Loyola College. An enormous and enthusiastic personality we are having right now here to enlighten the minds of the listeners with his abundant knowledge. With these words, I hand over the session to the resource person, Mr. K. M. Varkesh. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for your kind words of introducing me. Very good morning, Unanda
Sir, the
Halil
dice
here.
is yours.
Yeah, am I audible to you? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir,
you.
you are.
Like to thank the organizers as well as the dignitaries for finding me the and organizing the such wonderful program for the students and aspirants net. So thank you so much. Indeed, it's a great pleasure for me to talk to young minds who can make change in our country. So I'll straight away getting into the slides. So you are allowed to stop me at any point of time. You can unmute and stop me, and you can clarify your doubts. I don't think that it be very formal one where you can have questions at last. Whenever you have a doubt during the presentation, you are most welcome to ask. So get set, go. Let's start with the very first question. What is it? The first slide. Can you see something?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir. Your presentation is visible.
So I move on to the first one. There is a picture in the first slide.
You are still on the first slide, sir.
I have
I
changed
think you have to play. Yes.
again. I will
Yes, sir.
try.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Is it fine now?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, let's
Not at
start
all,
with the
sir.
very first question. What is this? A simple question for you.
An apple.
Apple.
Apple. Do you like apple?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Um, can you think of apple related to something else?
Maybe, sir.
Adam's apple, sir.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. Okay, that's great.
Newton.
Newton,
Albert
Albert
Einstein.
Einstein.
iPhone. That's great. Thank you so much, all the three of you. That would be the second one. You see that the apples that always make difference in the society, isn't it? It started with even if you look into the Bible, it's considered to be a part of civilization where people started to question. Apple was the first one. The second one is again the question of why by Newton. Again, the third one was Steve Jobs. So these three things, especially these three apples, they change entire world. I like to start with the first question here is why. So you maybe if you want to take up the test of net, you should have the purpose. You should ask question, why do you want to take? So therefore, I have the question for you. Why do you want to take net? Let us be more interactive. What is the purpose? Why people are asking? Are these days they are focusing much on the net exams? What's the reason behind it? Even you can give you answers in the chat box. You can post it. To become an assistant professor, okay, that's good. To qualify for assistant professor, okay.
So to increase the standard of education, sir.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so that's great that I could find number of different answers being to become an assistant professor, to increase the standard of the education, as well as to become a scholar. And basically, there are two purposes being taken. One is in the part of to get qualified first and foremost to work in any institution. It may be university or else in the autonomous colleges, even to work in a self-finance stream. Now the net is mandatory. Okay. So by clearing net exam, you can work all over in India, anywhere. So it's not necessary you'll be only in Tamil Nadu, where it's only the set exam is being focused, where if you clear set exam of Tamil Nadu, you can work in Tamil Nadu. If you clear the set exam of Andhra, you can work in Andhra. So it's entirely based on states. But NET is a national eligibility test to become an assistant professors. Therefore, you are allowed to work anywhere in India. And the second part would be, it's not only to get qualified, rather there is some. Okay. Rather, sometimes people, those who really wanted to get scholarship to do their PhD, they can crack JRF with the help of net exam. The percentage only they will come across that what is the difference between JRF and the net. Okay. So with a stipend up, you can get around 20,000 the first 2 years, then later 30 plus if you have become a senior research scholar. And that net also supports people those who really want to pursue. And the third thing I would say, to understand that the importance of literature, being a literature student, so you can always update yourself. And if you look at it, there are exams in India, especially for examples like IELTS, TOEFL, and OET. Those exams where you have only 2 years of validity, but net has a lifetime validity. So you no need to, once you crack it, that's fine for you. And you might be wonder that when I was introduced, people were stating that I have cracked net 4 times. So definitely not that I would wanted to crack net. Rather, I was trying for a JRF. That's the main reason. Every time when I wrote it, I end up with net instead of getting JRF. So moving on to this particular website is important one. I'll be moving on to this part. I hope that most of you are new to this particular exam. So make a note of it, or else you can take a screenshot of it. No issues. So this is the website. You have NTA, okay, National Testing Agency, who is conducting exams and the most of the university exams as well as this particular net exam in India. So if you look at it, this is where you need to be, you will be applying, where you come across, there's a page called or something here. Okay, you have, so university, UGC, National Eligibility test you have. If you click on to it, takes to the other page. Here is entirely the entire idea is given why they conduct a net exam, what is the eligibility criteria. And as if you get a net certificate, it mentions that so after clearing your net within 2 years, you need to submit your MA qualification with a percentage or 55%. Okay, for the general category, and if you belong to OBC or SC/ST category, you should have at least 50%. So therefore, in the very first year of your MA, you are allowed to take up the exam. But make sure that if you crack it at the end of the MA, you should have minimum percentage which is being expected, and there should not be any round up. For example, if you have 54.5 or 54.6, and it will be becomes a 55%. If you are applying for the exam, you should have 55 plus, not that being rounded off. So you could find number of information given over here. So where this is the web page which helps you a lot to realize and understand the nuances of the exam. So back to the slide. So if you look at it here, in the exam is you consist of two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is a common paper for all the subjects. So it's being a statistics, it may be Tamil, Hindi, French, English, or else other subjects like except the science subjects. Most of the subjects will be comes under this. Everybody may have the same paper. They have the same paper which consists of 50 questions. So each question carries 2 marks. Therefore, the first paper is consists of 100 marks. It's a very important paper because most of the time we focus more and much on the part of paper 2, which is our major, instead of focusing on the paper 1. So it's a very important paper which consists of a very general paper on teaching and research aptitude. And the paper 2 is a subject-based paper which has 100 question. Again, it also consists 2 marks each for each question. Therefore, it consists of 200 marks. Altogether, you'd be taking up the exam for 300 marks. So 100 plus 200, 300 marks for 3 hours. So if you look at a couple of years back, there was a time frame for first paper. It's a 1 hour and you had 15 minutes of break. Again, you have 2 hours for the paper 2. Therefore, within 1.5 hours or 1 hour 15 minutes, you need to complete the particular paper. Now you have the luxury of working on the 3 hours. Sometimes if you even feel that you need to work on the paper 2 and then you get back to the paper 1, you can do that. And so you have all the questions, all the 150 questions are given in the part of multiple choice. So you don't have any issue with memorizing a one word and then writing it. Okay. So even by just knowing the answer, but just knowing the concepts, you can answer. And there won't be any break. And another important thing, there's no negative marking. So if you look at it, GATE exam, which is being conducted by IIT for the PhD scholars, where you have multiple choices, the answer, there are multiple answers in a question. So you don't have that sort of difficulty when you are taking up a net exam. So each question, they just have only one answer. And the second thing, there is no negative mark. Therefore, you should attend all the questions without thinking of whether the question is easy, whether you get a minus mark and this and that. Since there is no negative mark, you should attend all the 150 questions, which will strengthen your scoring. And again, if you look into this is another important site which will helpful for you for your preparation. UGC Grants Commission.
they are the one who plans out the entire exam, but it was given to NTA to conduct it. And in that case, if you go open this particular web page, you find lot of informations related to first paper. Excuse me, do you have any doubt, Mr. Murugan? So if you look at it, this particular page, there is a chapter called higher education. In higher education, there are a lot of questions you come across, so one or two questions from based on UGC. So you have a lot of informations. Just you go through the particular page, you'll get to know things. And here, if you come down, you come across the idea of UGC Net Online. If you click on, it takes you to this particular page where you could find, once you clear an exam, you can download your certificates here. And you see that previous question papers, syllabus, and other things. If you click on syllabus, you come across that the syllabus are given for all the papers. See, the coding is being given for all the papers, and you have English and followed by Hindi over here. So paper one, you come, if you click on, you get a syllabus for the preparation of your paper one paper, net exam paper. I'm just waiting for it to upload it. Just a minute, yeah. So if you look at it, this is some you are given a main objective to assess teaching and research capabilities of the candidates. The second thing would be candidates are expected to possess and exhibit cognitive abilities, comprehension, analysis, evaluation, understanding structure of the arguments. So if you look at it, it has 10 topics. Okay, starting with the teaching aptitude, then research aptitude, comprehension, communication, mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning, then data interpretation, information and communication technology, people development and environment, higher education system. So each, you have 50 questions, you have 10 topics. So obviously, how many questions you'll get from each topic? Simple mathematical calculation.
5 each.
5 each. That's great. So you get a 5 questions from each area, and where you need to be a little bit prudent enough to plan your ideas here. I'm sure that we are not, everybody is not master over all the topics. So especially for literature students, we find it very difficult when it comes to data interpretation, and sometimes with the idea of mathematics. So you choose your area which you are interested in. First and foremost, the easiest area where you can score, which would be the easiest area if by looking at your topic. Teaching aptitude, research, comprehension, communication. If you have paper, you just jot down from top to bottom, which one you consider as the easiest one, and which one would be the toughest one for you. Okay, it may differ individually. You're getting it. So in that case, you first plan out, choose 6 or 7 areas which you are comfortable with. So how many questions you can crack by choosing your 6 or 7 areas? You'll get, obviously, if it's a 6 areas, then you get 30 questions. If you have 30 questions, I think definitely you could crack around 27 or 25. If you take all those 5 questions, you get 3 questions which are very open question. Indeed, very open question in all the topics, and 2 questions it will be a bit tricky. And it's being expected that you should have minimum of 35%. It's nothing but 35 marks. And here, if you look at it, if you out of 50 questions, if you get 17 questions right, you could easily get through the first paper. And it's not about getting through of the first paper. Rather, I would advise you people to aim for at least get 80% in the first paper, because the first paper boost up your marks. the scoring, because if you look at it on the overall, you have a 35% for the general category and 30% for the OBC category. So if you could get it, and you are eligible in the sense that you are eligible for the minimum marks to consider yourself, and on the whole, those who are getting the marks, everybody may get it invariably. If you are lakhs of people might be getting from that, 6% would be awarded net candidate, qualified candidate, where you call yourself, you have cleared your net exam. So in that case, you aim for at least scoring up 80%, at least get correct, 35 questions are being correct, the right answers. This is the trick you need to follow when it comes to the first paper. If you look into the paper 2, it's the code number for English is 30. And if you click on again, you can download this particular syllabus. So the syllabus is very simple. It's very single page syllabus. It's very simple. And you see the first unit, you have a drama. The second unit, you have poetry, fiction, and short story in the third unit. And non-fictional prose is in the fourth unit, which is a kind of a genres in literature. These are the 4 units which focuses on literatures or literature studies. And when you look into the 5th unit, 5th and 6th unit, 5th unit focuses on linguistics, 6th unit focuses on ELT, English language teaching, and the 7th unit focuses on cultural studies, and the 8th and 9th unit focuses on literary criticism and theory, and the last unit focuses on research methods and materials. Again, it's a kind of a research oriented. And if you look at the first 4 units, they're given a note that tested the comprehension passages, access critical reading, critical thinking, writing skills. 4 units will cover all literatures in English. What does it mean? All literatures in English. It is British literature and Indian literature, Australian literature, Commonwealth literature, American literature. So it's a word, the world is missing. Okay, it's the entire world literature is being focused, but then there are 60% of question you can expect from British literature. The rest of the questions should be some here and there. And again, here it consists of where you have 100 questions. So from each unit, you may get 10 questions. Each unit, you may get 10 questions. And therefore, here again, you need to focus on the part of which area you are really good at. So the first 4 units will get around 40 questions, and the rest of the units you get 60 questions, where you need to be a little bit prudent enough to find out what you want, where you are good at it. See, for example, some may be really good at criticism and theory. They find it very easy, and they may be good at literature. If you focus on, you'll get 60% of question in your exam. So which will be where you are, if you get 50%, I would say. So 50% in the paper 1, 50% in the paper 2. Obviously, you'll get 50 plus 75 questions are correct. You get 150 marks or something. The percentile you get through. So never ever focus much on the part of do you have any doubts? Somebody is raising her hand. Okay, it's fine. So never or ever focus on more about the calculation which involves in the net exam, the percentile score, the number of candidates they take part in the particular exam. Don't focus much on it. So the reason is there would be, for example, let's take 5 lakhs people, they are applying for the net exam. And majority of them would be literature students of PG. And PG students, what they generally have idea is just they want to try, because they have the idea of net exam is really tough. That's how people are being often informed that it's really tough exam. Definitely it's not so. And they wanted to give a try. So they don't prepare much. what they generally do is they generally apply for it. So when the exam comes, come, let's go and appear. ஒன்னும் படிக்கல பார்த்துக்கலாம். That's the attitude people would have. And you see that the other side, the people those got really may not have a time. They would be working as a faculty. They wanted to clear it so that they can qualify it. They can get a qualification to work as a qualified candidate. Therefore, but then their work constraints would not allow them to work much better. And in that case, if you take, it's a competition of most probably people those who prepare. Maybe a lakh out of 5 lakhs, I would say that a lakh of people would be preparing for the exam. And again, if you look at it among the lakhs of people, there are some, they'd be so confident, okay, overconfident, I would say. Those who have a overconfident, what they generally do is they prepare for a 6 months, okay, the particular exam, and then they say before 1 month of exam, I prepared everything, so why should I bother about it? I'll crack. And the third part would be the person who will be sitting at the most probably after before the 2 months or 3 months of exam, or else a month before an exam. Those people are, I consider, as have a chance to crack the exam. It's not that you study for 6 months or a year, and if you leave out things before a month with other constraints, it's really a tough task. Therefore, I consider that it's a competition of between just 5,000 or else 6,000 people. Those who comes within the 6%. That's a competition, exact competition between. And among them, there'll be some of them would be attending the classes outside. Some of them would be do a self preparation. It's up to you. It's up to you how you would go about with that, how you would plan out your preparation. So I'll be getting into the preparation later. So this particular part, again, this particular website I like to visit. If you look at it, you have the mock test. If you click on the mock test, you find this is how you may do your exam. If you click on, you have the plenty of exams, but that is the only net would be given to you, and UGC net I have selected, and you have the papers which are being offered for net, and only the paper 2 is given over here. So you have the start mock test where user ID and password would be given to you in the examination hall. And if you log in after giving it, you come across the instruction. This is a very important thing. Most of the time we don't pay attention to reading up instructions. This gives that how to navigate the questions, answering the questions and other things. So you have that, you'll have a box over here that mentions that you have read all the instructions, and if you click on proceed, you get a questions. You get a question. So how many questions are here? The paper 2. Guys, are you there?
100 questions.
100 questions. 100 questions. You see that there is a box. Thank you so much. You see that? So there is a box given over here. Each box mention the question number. There are 100 questions. And if you see the first one, which is given in the orange color, the question is not answered. And you have the save and next clear, save and mark for review, and next is given. So for example, by going through this particular question, which of the following poems by Thomas Hardy was original title, The Country, the Century Deathbed? Which one of you can try? You can post your answer in the chat box. Is it option 1, 2, 3? I'm going to right away marking the first one. Whoever answered giving the first answer.
Option 3, sir.
Option 3. Okay. So it's option 3 we have chosen. Then we'll move on to the next question. If you look at it, if I don't click save, I may get the question 2, but the first question is not answered. Therefore, what you need to do is, you need to, if you move on to the, for example, next question, if you click on the question number 1, you get the first question. So 3 is being mentioned, save and move on to next. So now you see the first question, first box is given in which color? It's in
Green.
Green. So green shows that what the question is answered. The question is answered. So you have the second question here. Which of the following description fits the unit of verse? Dactyl is a stress pattern meter you have. Which one would be? It's a first, second, third, or fourth. Which option it would be? Try out. I'm not checking whether you know the answer or not. Just you can have a try.
Option 2.
Okay, let's have option 2, and she was bit hesitant that the first one was stated that option 3 with the confident man, and the second one is whether it's 2 or 3 is confused. So what you can do is save and mark for review. If you click on it, moves on the third question. What is the color is given over here now?
Purple.
So it's a blue or purple color you have a so which you can work later once you complete the exam. Once you answered all the 100 questions, completed all the going through all the 100 questions at first, and you can just find out that now you, for example, if I'm skipping the third question, so now I get a color is a different one. The fourth question, I'm moving on to the fourth question. Fourth question, there is line is being given, okay, and it's being asked who has talked, and you see that for example, if I click on the option 4 and I wanted that mark for review next, you see that there is a difference. So when I say save and mark for review and next, there is a difference. You see the green color in it. Okay, the green color which shows that save and mark for review at the end of the exam, if you couldn't complete it, okay, for the reviewing of these questions, it would be considered for evaluation. If the answer is right, you'd be given a marks. If the answer is wrong, you lose marks. That's all. But on the other hand, if you have marked for review, which will not be considered for a evaluation. Okay, for review and next, if you fail to review it, if you fail to save the answer later stage or before completing the exam, so you may not get a chance to get marks for it. That's the difference. Therefore, it's a green color. It's being mentioned. The question number 2 below the even on the top of the whatever in the blue or violet color, and the 4 is not being mentioned. And you see that question number 5 to 100, no color is being mentioned, which means that you need to go through. You need to do the rest of the questions. Is that clear to you how the display of your net exam, because it's being conducted, it's a CBT based, computer based test. Therefore, you will not get a paper pen. Only the paper is given to you to write something, to jot down something, to recollect, or only the particular purpose is given. So you are not going to take up the paper pen test. This is how your screen may look on the examination day. Do you have any doubt, or shall I proceed further? Guys, if you
I
could
think you can proceed, sir,
okay, thank
because
you,
there
ma'am.
don't seem to be any doubts.
Sure, thank you. So this you could come across in the mark test on the page NTA at none. On other hand, we also looked into the part of syllabus. So if you look at it, previous question papers, the previous question papers you come across on this particular page, you can download and you can get the answer key too. And apart from that, there are a number of additional sources, different agencies, I would say that different training forums, they do have offer the previous year question papers which you can download with the answer keys. Okay? So this is these are the websites you need to go through. You see that the schemes and other things, everything you can find, which will be easy, helpful for you in the examination time. And coming back to the slides. So now the question would be, what is it on the slide?
A book.
A book. Okay. It's always tough to pinpoint and say what to use, because sometimes what we do is, majority of the cases I have seen that students, they're getting books which are bazaar guides, which consists of 10,000 multiple choice questions and You have sometimes people would get a question paper related to a kind of MCQs, one words, they sit and memorize. And if you memorize, take it from my side, 99% you may not crack the exam if you memorize. And indeed, we find it that we fail to understand the reality of it. The thing is, the questions are not repeated, first and foremost. And you can't rely on the text which is being made by someone whether all the options given, the answers are given is right. There are times even the standard books, which is standard MCQ books, the answers are wrong. Therefore, you need to stick on to the books. So I don't say that you should not touch upon MCQ books, but rather what you have to do is you should be a little bit prudent. Read the text like you choose one book for history of English literature. For example, let's say a book of Edward Albert, history of English literature. You take the age of Chaucer or the age of Shakespeare, Elizabethan age. You read that particular age, then make use of the MCQs, which are the questions which are being asked from the particular age. Try to answer to those questions to check that whether you could remember those informations, whatever you are ready. That's the first thing. And the second thing would be reading of books makes much sense than just reading of the part of any MCQs, I would say. For example, some would say that, okay, you read the book of Hudson for English literature. Some would say read the book of Edward Albert. Some would say then read the book of Routledge. See, plenty. And you say that first page you take the book of Routledge and you read 10 to 15 pages. You say that, okay, it's really tough to understand. You throw up and again you take Edward Albert. You read 20 pages and say you move to Hudson. And you always have a tough time to which book to follow. That's a problem I could notice among the learners. I'd say that you choose one book which you are comfortable with. If you are comfortable with Hudson, complete Hudson completely. You complete the Hudson, then move on to the Edward Albert. Because, for example, 1 plus 1 in the mathematics, what would be the answer in addition?
2.
That's good. So if you look at the age of Chaucer, it comes from the 1340 to 1400. Hudson, you have the same age as well as you could come across, which is there in the Edward Albert. It's the same year it's being mentioned. Again, Routledge would be the same year it be mentioned. Information would differ. Adding up information would be differ. For example, Lyrical Ballads was published in the year. One of you.
1798.
That's good. So 1798. And if you take 1798, the year remains the same in all the three books, but the way the information is given would differ. Are you getting it? Therefore, choose one particular book, complete it. It's not that whether you start with the Elizabethan age, you start with the Romantic age. I would say that you can go chronologically. Because sometimes when you sit in your exams, if you want to recollect, you may be confused with which author belongs to the particular age. For example, if I read Romantic age, I complete it thoroughly. Once I complete it, I feel that the age of Chaucer would be easy for me. I move on to the age of Chaucer. While taking up the exam, I sometimes confuse that which work comes which period. Therefore, I would advise that you start with the age of Chaucer and move on. That would be easy for you to understand. Even the ages can be divided into two. So you have a preparation of the particular idea of age, like a Chaucer to pre-romantics. Okay, one particular set of reading, and romantics to the modern age. Therefore, it will be easy for you to differentiate ideas, especially when it comes to British literature. And you have 10 different topics as we looked into when it's in the part of literature. The paper 2, and you have drama, prose, and other things. And in these books like Edward Albert's History of English Literature, Routledge, you have the quotes are being given from the given text. You can go through it, you can find out, just read it. That's what it's important, much more important than memorizing it. Don't memorize. That's the word I need to underline. You read and understand. It's not definitely, even myself, after cracking 4 times, I won't say that I know starting point to the last point, which is whatever is given in the particular textbook. It's not, definitely not. I may not know that everything. It's just checking up your aptitude. It's just checking up your understanding of your level of your literature, whether you could comprehend with the questions and other things. Therefore, it's a request from my side, never or ever you memorize things. Memorization would not help you forever. And if you look into that, you choose one book for literary criticism, or else in the part of linguistics, or for literature, choose one particular book, I would say. For example, I'd say that literary theory, Peter Barry would be a very good book to read. And criticism, you can use any book which is being prescribed in your syllabus, because each department, each college, each university, they have these papers. Maybe the work may differ. For example, for us, we may have the Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, and sometimes you may not have Dr. Faustus. Instead of, you may have a Jew of Malta. Just a minute. I think the slide is disappeared. Just a minute. I'll again share it. Okay, fine. So if, for example, linguistic, you choose a book, because the syllabus would be there in your course study, BA or else in MA. Go through the reference books, just read those books. That would be sufficient for you, because it's an exam, though the syllabus is given on the whole is a world literature, but its focus is on
Sir,
central.
your live stream has been is
Stop.
not visible now again.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So if you look at it, there are different state and central universities. There is a national level eligibility test. Therefore, the syllabus covers from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, central university syllabus. Even some questions you can expect from the IAS preparation materials too, where they have the paper on literature. And you come across the different entrance test, gate exam, and other things. But the questions you expect only from the central universities, the state university syllabus. Therefore, you download the syllabus first, different central universities and state universities. Just go through it, because you get open questions. There will be 10 questions, would be very open. Who has written this particular work and this particular essay? For example, 4 kinds of meaning. It was written by. You have options like F.L. Lewis, I. Richards, T.S. Eliot, and Matthew Arnold. So you look at the answers, you can answer to it. So that's a basic format. Therefore, books, you can follow it, which is you choose one particular university, download it, and even your college syllabus, whatever you have, you can follow based on it. And moving on to this particular slide, I'll be stepping into another important aspect of my presentation. That's the core idea of my presentation, because these are the information you may aware of it, the syllabus and other factors. Then I have given something on the screen. There are 9 dots. The question is, you need to connect 9 dots without taking away your hand. Only 4 lines are allowed to use. You should not come back in the same line when you draw. You should not come back in the same line, and you are allowed to draw only 4 lines. very straight line, and you need to connect those nine dots. Can you do it? So if you have paper in your hand, you can put a 9 dots and try to do that. Anybody would like to give an answer for it? It's a very simple puzzle. So, okay, if not, no issues, I'll display the answer. Okay, that's fine. That's great. A very good attempt. Somebody is attempting and stated that the chat box that failed. Yamini, that's good. So you have this one. So you see that it started with the first line. It goes beyond the dots. And I'm taking it down again. It goes beyond the dots because the 9 dots ends over here. So straight line. Again, I'm coming down. I'm taking to the straight and connecting without repeating. That's very straight line. If you think within the box, that's what, within the 9 lines, I don't think so it's easy for you to connect it. You would not have done it. You need a bit of thinking where you need to go beyond it so that you can get it. So when you frame strategies for your preparation, you should be much more creative, because I said there is a one thing I kept on insisting, you don't memorize. Memorization would not help you, because from childhood onwards we are forced to memorize things in the studies focusing on marks. Therefore it's really tough for us to get into new nuance. So don't memorize, it would be creative. So may I know what is this? You might have come across, hope so. One of you can unmute and state, or you can post. Yeah,
Sticky notes, sir.
Sticky notes. Thank you. So sticky notes, which may be a very handy tool for remembering things first and foremost. So you can stick anywhere. No, I don't think so. You'll have an issue. It should not be the only the part of one particular place where you stick. Not necessary. So you feel that wherever it's visible to you, you use sticky notes. So you can write 3 or 4 points, a poetry line, a first line of a novel which you come across. Something you write, a quotation which can motivate you. Because sometimes, most of the time, what we do is we prepare a lot of things. And at the end of the day, what we do is, okay, I'll done a lot of preparation. I don't know what to do. So where to stop? I feel exhausted to prepare. You throw. That's where the motivation is. Write motivation quotes where it would be visible to you. By looking at it, you should be motivated. And the second thing, write years, because there are questions where you can't remember years. The thing is, once you often look at something, you remember things where you don't need to memorize. For example, if you're on the door where you're in your room, at the back of the door, you are sticking something. Okay. The question, for example, the first folio of Shakespeare's sonnets were published in which year is that? It was in the year? Anyone? Okay, I would ask easy question. Yeah. Somebody is answering.
1623.
Are you sure? Say sonnets is 1625. Isn't it 609? The sonnets, only the dramas were published in 1623, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, just have a check. Okay. And if you say that you have 4 different ages where lyrical ballads were published, okay, starting with 1798, as one of you answered the last question, okay, and you have followed by 2 years. You see that those years you can write one after another, just stick on just have a look. Just have a look. Don't no need to remember. So 5 times when you walk into the room, just have a look, and then when you step out, you can have a look. When before going to bed, you can have a look. It's up to you how you have an idea. So sticking paper, you can stick anywhere. Even I know that some of my friends that they will be sticking papers even on the bed while turning out. They can have a look. So you use for the sticking paper for 2 or 3 days, one particular set of sticking paper for 2 or 3 days, and take it out, add with something else, and keep saving all those sticking papers, whatever you written, just having it with you. Every week you just revise it, whatever the sticking papers you have written, just have a look before getting into the exam. Just have a revise it, just have a look at it. That's enough. Don't memorize. That's the thing I would like to tell you. And moving on to the next one, this is another kind of preparation. So you write something, and there's this one. That's a method I often use. So every day you write 10 questions, and the particular you have a different types of questions. You have matching. Sometimes you have a questions related to years. Sometimes you may have questions, direct questions related to the writer, the concepts. So you have a 10 different topics. You choose topics exactly from 10 different areas of one question from linguistics, one from what you can say is literary terms, forms and terms, one from a quotation, one related to criticism. So 10 questions you write. Always the question number should be 1 to 10. The page number would be there. Every page, if you take a notebook, you have written either on the right hand side or else on the left hand side, you write 10 questions. Okay, I'll tell you how to go about with this writing of this question paper. This can be done while reading. You can do while reading. You can write the question. You can create your own questions and write it down. And you try to answer to the question after 15 minutes or 10 minutes. You write the answer somewhere. Don't answer it wrongly. Okay, you have to write it the answer separately with a number. Always you have a 1 to 10. And if you turn on to the next page, for example, if you're starting up today is 28th, if I'm not mistaken, 28th. And if you are starting up today with a preparation, write 10 questions. And tomorrow on 29, you mention the date, write 10 questions, 1 to 10. Don't write 11, 12, because what happens is if you write 11, 12, 13, 14, if you take your notebook, you may have 1,000 questions. You have a mental block, I would say. So looking at it, 10 questions, if I have only 10 questions to read, you feel so only 10 questions. And I have 1,000 questions to read. You see the difference, the psychological gas impact. Therefore, just write 10 questions on each page. Don't write more. If the very next day is a new day, so start with again one. Okay. And this side, I have written something. The first question, understanding poetry, used to be a classic textbook that capsulates the principles of. The answer is new criticism. Okay. So understanding poetry, the answer, I want the answer. We often stop with only the answering part, only the answers, but you need to go beyond that. On the other side, on the page number empty, you just mentioned that who has written the understanding of poetry. You find that Kant Brooks and Robert Warren. So it was in the year 1928. And then you see that rest of the information, whatever you can find in connected to this particular question, you can jot down here. So that when you read this question while revising, you also when you read this also, you remember that within this particular question, you could find that nearly 5 or 6 questions can be answered. Okay. So again, it may be, say, dialogue imagination is a collection of essays. Okay. I have written this collection of 4 essays. It was published in 1975, and it was written by Mikhail Bakhtin, a Russian. So you see that the rest of the things, what are the concepts were given by him in those essays, I have noted down. So when I'm reading it, I don't read only this particular question, rather I'm revising this also. And this, I would say that you can form a group. So for example, 2 or 3 in a group. It's not that everyone can read the same idea. Everyone, it's easy for everyone to complete 100 questions a day. But if 3 can join, 10 questions each, 30 questions. For example, where you get another 5 more information, nearly you could complete 150 questions, the answers, where you with an idea. So what all you need is just revising. Morning you write this, but for example, you can create a WhatsApp group and have a post these questions without answer. Let your friends can answer to those questions where before 6 o'clock, and you can give the end of the day you can give the answer. So that what will happen is you are revising it, you are often looking into it. That's where you could find the change in you. And next one would be these days you said the beginning that apple is the apple which was given in the found by Steve Jobs, a company. And we live in a modern era. Though the net exam started in 1990s, and still you have, it has been nearly a 30 years time still is being conducted. Now it's become a mandatory, but we live in an era of technological era where you have access to everything. So I have mentioned as a trivia plaza. Let's see, we'll play a game now. So if you go to trivia plaza, you'll see that difference of a quiz. Okay, pop music, geography, science, computer, literature. So I wanted to play a game related to literature. So I'll click on which topic you want to have. One of you can unmute and state, or else you can post. So you have general, bestsellers, book titles, characters, movie books, plays, prizes, and Shakespeare. Which one shall we choose? That's fine that somebody is answering any. I want someone general. Okay, I click on general. You see that general, you have plenty of quizzes. So among this, which one you want to have? Book opening lines, shall I go for it? So you see that there is a game play. We click on, you see that there is a line is being given. The first line from which book? Once there were 4 children whose names Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. The story is about something that happened to them when they were sent away from London during the war because of air raids. What would be the answer? One of you can post or you can unmute. Okay.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay, let's see. The answer is right. That's great. So it takes to the next question. So you can read the question and give an answer to me. Try out, even if the answer is wrong, no issues.
Sir, Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights, sir.
Okay. Wuthering Heights again is right. That's good. This one?
Pride and Prejudice, sir.
Everybody knows it's a Pride and Prejudice. So I like to know. I'm not aware of it. So I'm clicking on again Wuthering Heights. I'm confusing, or else I'm clicking Da Vinci Code. The answer is wrong. I'm getting the right answer here. Are you getting it? So the next one, it was Love at First Sight.
Catch 22.
So I'm clicking Godfather. Catch 22 is right. So you are getting it right. So there are websites which helps you to get the right answer. Are you getting it? So even if the answer is wrong, you get a right answer. So next one. You will rejoice to hear that no disaster has accompanied the commencement of enterprise.
Is that Frankenstein, sir?
Frankenstein, sir.
Okay, that's good. Frankenstein. That's good. Next one.
Harry Potter, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry Potter.
This one.
Is that Da Vinci Code, sir?
We'll try out. That's great. See, sometimes in the exam it happens to you. You may
Tale of
not.
Two Cities.
Okay, you may not understand that all and know all the answers. Sometimes you go with a guess. Your guess would be right. So never hesitate to have a guess. Next one.
The bell jar. The Brave New World, sir.
New world.
So you see that you get average score, what is and what you have scored. You got 8 questions right, and you have a B grade. And if you want, you can again play. If you click on play again, you get questions. Okay, you get questions like this, which happens that it's a kind of a repetition, which is often emphasized by the behaviorists. Behaviorists, they say that if you repeatedly do the work and it becomes a practice, then it's easy to understand. Therefore, if you work and make use of this, is one website I have given to you. You have the Quizlet, you have Kahoot. So all those websites may be really helpful. This you have apps too. The mobile app you can download when you find very boring, and you can just play a game that may be useful to you. Okay. Then the next concept you have, that's a very important concept, which again is a VC1 too. It's a mind mapping. Okay. So concept of criticism and theory I have just created. Then where you have I just started with the mimesis, which was being started with Plato. Plato says the poetry is all about mimesis, tries removed from reality. It was being opposed by Aristotle. And later you can come across the Longinus support this particular idea. The mimesis again, Dryden and other things. I'm not explaining everything. Are you getting it? I'm just making the mind map based on how it's being done. So mimesis again, this idea is taken in the postmodern era. Okay, ideas are ultimate reality. That's a core concept is being taken in the postmodern era. How myths are being constructed. The two important people is Leothard and John Baudelaire. You have people who talks about the important figures in postmodernism. So Aristotle or else Plato is no more connected, no other, and Leothard, they lived in different world and lived in different concept and criticism and theory. And I'm connecting with us based on the idea of mimesis. So this would helpful for you to understand the theory and criticism, how each one is interconnected. So you can create mind maps for your preparation. Those will, the mind maps will be really helpful to you. Again, the mind map related to humanism, how humanism is interconnected with enlightened humanism, the latest stage. So you can create your own mind maps with where you can bring out those writers, the key concepts which they have created. And moving on to this one, this is another important factor I'd like to talk to you. So far, do you have any doubt in it? How many do you have any doubt since your hands up? Okay.
No, sir.
Thank you. There are a few people raising their hands. If you have a doubts, you can tell me. Okay, that's fine. So this is another thing I like to talk to you is it's like a chain of events. Okay. I'll talk to you the question. I'll talk to you later. Okay, the chain of events would be there everywhere. Okay. Every incident, everything, it can be interconnected with the other one. So in this scenario, if you click on to the Nobel Prize, I like to take into this particular page. Nobel Prize these days, they don't ask much questions. Sometimes you may expect questions. So you have a Nobel Prize winners page where you have literature is separately given to you, and you see that more facts and figures. And if you click on, you come across that number of facts and figures of people share their literature, Nobel Prize for literature, and these are the years. 4, 17, 16. Okay. No, number of Nobel Prize for literature so far is given is 118. Youngest prize is the one Rudyard Kipling who got in 1907. And the oldest one is Doris Lessing who got it in 2007. And if you look at the year, 1907 and 2007, how many years of difference? The difference between 1907 and 2007? How many years of differences? Just am I audible, guys? Yeah, 100 years.
100.
So you have 100 years. See that 100 years back, 1907, Rudyard Kipling received the Nobel Prize, and Doris Lessing in 2007. If you remember, the youngest one is Rudyard Kipling, 1907, and the oldest one, Doris Lessing. You can connect. You no need to remember, memorize this one. Are you getting it? And you see that female Nobel laureates is being given, and two people who declined the Nobel Prize is again given here over here in 15. You see that you connect these ideas with the important figures. So when you say connecting, find out the interesting element of connection between the both. So Jean Paul Sartre you have in 1964, and you have a Boris Pasternak you have 1598. Both of them, they rejected the Nobel Prize. So just a gap of 6 years. And you see that post-mortem Nobel Prize is given to people after their death. There were two. So these are the ways you can remember. For example, I like to ask a question. There is a one who got received the Nobel Prize, and
Sir, your audio is getting low, sir.
okay, sorry, ma'am. So when
This is better.
fine. So if you look at it, in India, there is someone who received the Nobel Prize for literature. Who is the one? He is the one. Rabindranath Tagore. That's good. In the year 1913. Okay. And Rabindranath Tagore received the Nobel Prize for which work?
Geetanjali.
Geetanjali. So there is a preface is being written. Now most of all the literature work, okay, preface is being given. The preface of Geetanjali was written by
W.B. Yeats.
W.B. Yeats received the Nobel Prize.
1923.
See, you see that 1913, exactly 10 years after 1923, W.B. Yeats received the Nobel Prize. And if you look at it, there are only two people who received Oscar award as well as Nobel Prize. Oscar award for movie and Nobel Prize for literature. There were only two. Who are those?
Is that Old Man and the Sea, sir?
No.
Not-
Two writers I like to mention.
John
One is
Steinbeck.
American. Somebody tried out, it seems.
John Steinbeck.
Okay, I'll give a guess. He's the man who has written a number of dramas.
So G.B. Shaw, sir.
G.B. Shaw. G.B. Shaw received the Nobel Prize in 1925. He is the first person who received Nobel Prize and Oscar award too. The other one is Bob Dylan, who received the Nobel Prize a couple of years back in 1916, 2016 or something. You come across Bob Dylan, he received the Nobel Prize, and he also got the Oscar award too. So you see that this is how you need to connect and find the connection between that. Okay. And moving on to the next slide. So you need to get into the part of a exact particular website. For example, for paper on, if you are reading about UGC, go to the UGC website and find out. If you are talking about Nobel Prize, you go to that particular page and you read out. Then I have something for book of prizes. Okay. See, book of prize, again you see that the page you come across the International Book of Prize, and this page is being given. You can go through this. This is similar to the Nobel Prize, where you get all those reasons that why the Nobel Prize, Book of Prize was given to them. And the next one would be this one. You can really have a look at it. You said that people would say that Wikipedia would be the one of the not the one of the best pages to advise to read, because anyone can edit it. But I would say that the Wikipedia can be even considered for reading of your net exams. You see, when you read Book of Prize, you see that the number of things are given literary prizes and British culture and this and that. You see that number of words are given in the form of blue in color. What is it, blue in color? Which means that
We could get to know about a detailed information about
yes,
that.
good. It's a hyperlink. Okay, for example, I am reading about Alice Munro. I'm just reading about Booker Prize. Okay, one is was given this and that. I'm just reading it. Typed in Google the Booker Prize, and I'm getting this particular page. I'm reading it. So I'm just confused. Find out that who is Alice Munro or Anthony Burgess. So I'm clicking on it. See, for example, you received the last Booker Prize, and I'm clicking on it. It takes to the page of Alice Munro. So I'll come to know she's a you do get questions these pages too. It's not only from Wikipedia, Britannica Encyclopedia, where you can get the questions like this. So you see that I'm just reading it. I'm talking. I'm finding out that she's a Canadian short story writer, and she has also received the Nobel Prize in 2013. I'm just going through it. Then while reading, I'll come across Nobel Prize. I click on Nobel Prize. You see that I'm Nobel Literature Prizes, how it's being awarded, and you see that this is how things will connecting and reading. Okay, reading, that's why it's even happens to the part of literary works. For example, if you take literary works, um, for instance, again, I'm clicking on Anthony Burgess. So Clockwork Orange. So you see that cover page. So look at the cover page. That's another important thing of your reading. See, the ways is not about memorizing, it's all about remembering. Find the nuances, your own ways of remembering things. So, Clockwork Orange, I remember the cover page. Remembering cover page, I can browse through the net, or else I can go to the bookshop. I just glance through the cover page of different books. I can go to the Amazon page to look into the book pages. So I'm talking about here Clockwork Orange, dystopian, satirical work, and black comedy. So I'm not aware of it. What is a black comedy? I'll click on. I get the information about black comedy, otherwise known as black humor, dark comedy, morbid humor. So it's come to know so many things. So just clicking of the hyperlink helps you a lot to understand and learn. Okay. Then moving on this particular page, and it's a summary just for the sake of I given to you. Importance of being honest, the character and other things. So this available in various net sources. So where you can see some of the posters. You can download in even the Google page and have a look at it, the characters and what are themes are being given to you. I'm just running bit fast. If you have doubts, you can clarify. So this era you can create memes. Meme is another important thing which often create memes. If you are really good at creating memes, create memes. This also I downloaded from a net. Okay, so love doesn't have to end in marriage always. It's something beyond the cosmos, which is one of the lines taken from Dante's Allegri. And I love you, Beatrice. Beatrice is a lover of Dante, but what happened? She was not alive when the work was being written. Okay, it's there. It began. Okay. Again, if you look at it, second one. So, Hidden Panther, it's a work by John Ryan. You have a Deer and Tiger by Arvind. So, create these are the memes. Again, you see that this one. So, these are the memes which you might be interested in. John Milton's Paradise, Regan and Sampson Against both were published in the same year, 1671. Okay. And if you look at the next one is pragmatics as a concept in linguistics. So you see that is there everything right? It differs in the hospital when you talk to a court. So pragmatics, you understand the meaning of pragmatics. What is the meaning of pragmatics? People who read your books find it very difficult to understand the definition, but these sort of memes can be really helpful to you. You see again collocation. Collocation is nothing but combination of the words. You see that master class. So now I'd like to show you a video. Even if the audio is not audible, it's not because there is no only the music would be there. Let's see whether it if the audio is audible to you, that's fine. If not, then you just watch it. Just a second, please. So if you look at it, it's not that it is a tough exam to crack. It's not that you need to go and study in an institution and do a net pay amount and then prepare your exams. Not so. Rather, it's all about how you prepare yourself. How do you look into at the part of a way in which you can do wonders in the part of preparation. It's all about how you see yourself in the part of a process. So they would say that it's a process is more important than talking about the other aspects. And take lot of initiatives, be regular. It's like a football player who was you are seen in the video. Okay, it's not that sitting and studying 5 hours or 6 hours regularly and make yourself put yourself in the pressure cooker and feel so exhausted. It's not so. Be truthful, prepare yourself, take your time 1 hour or
2 hours of preparation would be sufficient. But sit regularly. Find your own strategies. So I would say I would have given some of strategies which I have used it. You know who you are, what you are capable of, how your idea would differ from others, what the style of your learning. You plan out accordingly and channelize your learning. Then cracking of a net is much easier than anything. Okay, so it's like a just exam. That's all. It's just they are going to check your aptitude and how your aptitude in literature and how you are capable of doing things. That's all. So it's not the thing of sometimes people would keep themselves away from everything and they sit and study. It's not necessary. Be you are, prepare and do well. All the best. With this, I'll stop. We'll move on to the next slide for questions. So I'll give a couple of minutes. You can post your questions in the chat box, or else you can unmute and ask directly to me.
Thank you so much, sir. That was an amazing session.
So kindly mute yourself if you don't mind. I have a question here. Somebody has posted a question related to the age for a NET and JRF. JRF we have right now it's being 35 for OBC category to learners. For NET you don't have age limit. For OBC category. For NET you don't have age limit. I request the research scholar to mute her mic. This is echoing. Okay. The first question: why did not clear most of the Tamil Nadu students? It's not about Tamil Nadu students or Andhra students or Kerala. It's not so. Rather, the idea should be channelized properly. The awareness should be there. It's all about we often state that majority of the time that net is a tough to crack. The negative impact which we pass on to the learners makes a lot of impact on the exams. That would be one of the reasons I feel that why students they fail to crack. And the other question I raised is good apps for test knowledge in literature. It's a tough question to answer because you have numerous apps to check, like as I said, the Trivia Plaza and Quizlet and this and that. And one thing I failed to inform you, now when you work on the whole question paper, each question when you take, there will be 4 options should be there, where you often we end up with finding similarities between 2 options. That's where we fail. And take the whole question paper. What are the options you can eliminate? You can do that. And where you find similarities, you ask a question in yourself that why the option is given in the particular question, and find out that how the question is connected with particular option, one indirectly or indirectly. Then it would be easy for you to do much better. So apps there are plenty. You can use Kahoot, quizzes, and Trivia Plaza. Even in the Britannica Encyclopedia web pages, hyperlinks would be really useful tool. And the next question I have received it. Will you please share a okay, it maybe depends upon with the organizer. Asking chronicle journals, okay, chronicle journals and magazines. You can. That's where I said it's using of a linking chain, and as well as what you can do is you can record your own voice while reading. You can record and you can listen to it like you are listening to your music. For example, when you read and hear the particular thing, so you can chronically you can arrange it and you can record your own voice while taking notes and while reading it, and you can listen to your own voice of voice recording later, so that you can remember. That can be one of the strategies you can use it. And any other question? If you can't type, you can unmute and you ask.
Mr. Verghese,
Yes.
can you just stop sharing so that you will be there on the screen?
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's good. You are not visible.
Maybe I have a issue in
Yeah,
my laptop.
only the books at the background, they are visible.
Just a minute. I'll try to see. I'll check with the settings. Just give a couple of minutes if you don't mind.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, Ghanshyam, sir. We are so happy to have you in the forum.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Always, it's a pleasure to be associated with all these academic activities. And congrats to you for bringing all these things on the platform of iSpell.
Thank you so much, sir.
For which iSpell has been created.
Thank you, sir.
Dear sir, I have an issue with my laptop. It seems that, so I find it very difficult to.
Sir, we would just like to have your face on the screen. That is what we are.
I'm trying to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's an issue. It seems. Check that.
So, are you able to have any success in changing the settings, sir? Verghese, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. If you could help me out, that's
Yes.
fine. Because I think I need to update my Gmeet app.
Okay.
That would be the reason. Since no issues, I'll come. I'll have one more device also through which I have connected. I'll
Yes,
come.
sir. Yes, sir. Maybe you can just come.
Just
over
a
there.
minute.
Yes.
And, Mr. Laptop, welcome. Is it fine, ma'am, now?
Yes.
I hope I'm visible to you.
Yes,
all.
you're visible to us, sir.
Yes,
And if we have any other questions, please you can just.
Dr. Jayanti, there were some
Is there
questions
any
in the
other
chat box.
questions?
Yes, sir.
Anything you'd like to ask?
So Ghanshyam
participants.
sir, you said something, I couldn't get it.
There were some questions in the chat box.
Yes, he has already answered to those questions. Apart from that, some of them were asking after they unmuted.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
I would like to ask you a question that whether writing while attending the NET examination, whether each questions will have a specific time allotment, or we can utilize all the 1 or 2 hours for completing the 50 or 100 questions.
You don't have any specific time is being allotted for each question. You can make use of 180 minutes, I mean 3 hours for all the 150 questions.
For both the paper 1 and the paper
Yeah,
2.
paper 1 and paper 2.
Okay, all right, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome. So tips for the paper 1, you can download the previous year question papers and you can work on instead of browsing through or going through various paper books. You can just download previous year question papers and work on those question papers with UGC key answers. It would be easy for you. And if at all you want to have a text, you can get a textbook of general English. I'll share one of the PDF file which I have it with me. I'll share it in the WhatsApp group maybe later this evening. You can make use of the book for the preparation. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Before we invite our General Secretary for addressing and encouraging us, I think there is one more question. Are there any particular topics that we could additionally expect?
I like the particular person who has posted the question could be much more specific on it. Yes, the question is kindly the person can unmute. I think it's Kirtana
Yes,
who has
you can
posted the
be
question.
more oral in your questions. Dear participants, you can unmute and ask your questions.
Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, every time in net questions they are experimenting new genres and areas. I am asking about that. Sometimes they ask more questions from this particular. For instance, in 2020 and 21, chronology was more in number. I am asking like that. Are there any other areas that they would implement this time or experiment this time in this year?
So definitely, I'm not a question setter to answer to this question. There is a ways in you can look into the pattern the preparation. The questions for literature, it may be based on concepts. It may be based on chronological order. It may be based on years. It may be based on writers. Only these categories the question can expect, because all the questions can be put under these categories. So if you could, while preparation, if you focus on these elements, it would be easy for you to tackle the questions. That's why I said while presentation, so whatever you are preparing, you prepare chronologically. That will be easy for you to remember and recollect while answering.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think there's a question related to particular site rely on for preparation. There are a number of YouTube channels are available, and individual preparation is easy than going through the other material, because what we do is generally focus on other material, this and that. Net is all about individual preparation. That's why I had a very specific video on the last clip where you had a player who was nobody was there in the ground. Only he was alone preparing, playing and preparing for the matches. And the same thing, you have plenty of sources available. Make use of the sources. Don't rely on one particular thing. There's no any particular idea thing. We live in the postmodern era. We live in fragments. There is no one particular idea. Therefore, try to make use of whatever sources are available. That would be easy for you to compete with others and come up with the flying colors in the exams.
Okay, if we have more number of questions can be asked anytime. We will be sharing the number of the resource person. He is already in the WhatsApp group, and I'll be sharing the link on the chat box now. And now I should congratulate sir for doing justice to the title that he had taken up, Strategies to Crack NTA Net. Thank you so much, sir. It would have been very much easy for everyone. Even the UG students are joined over there, and since they do not have any idea about what it is, how they should go about it, how they can make the preparation. So it would have been very much useful for them. Thank you so much, sir. And you also gave tips. Of course, all these will be done formally as a vote of thanks by my friend from APC Mahalakshmi College. But I just wanted to share my feedback also on the open forum. So thank you so much, sir. And presently, the MOC will be introducing our General Secretary of ISPIL, and he's going to give us some words of encouragement. His words are always inspiring for us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, ma'am. So, Sir,
you can have your camera on, at least for some time. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Strive not to be successful, but rather to be valued, says Albert Einstein. Here is a personality who has proven this and worked incessantly for the growth and welfare of EXPEL Forum. It is my honor to invite Dr. J. Ghanshyam sir, founder and general secretary of ISPEL, to say some words about this session. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
Ghanshyam sir.
Yeah, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Good morning to all the people, those who have assembled on the platform of ISPEL, Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and Literature, Tamil Nadu Forum. Indeed, it's a pleasure that the society has come forward to help and also to do a kind of a hand-holding for the aspirants of NET. Indeed, ISPEL is doing all these activities right from its inception on 5th of September 2020. We have been organizing various events in collaboration with various colleges and universities of India, but at the same time, we do have our forums in different states which are catering to the needs and demands of the students. Because we all believe it's ISPEL. Every individual has the capacity to spell. And when all these I's will combine together, it will convert into V. And that's what we are doing. And that's what this Tamil Nadu Forum has also started doing. So indeed, it's a pleasure that reaching the students is most important because they are the stakeholders. They are the people, those who are going to lead the generations together. So that's why taking care of these students, making them aware of various nuances related to literature and language, and making them more efficient and to enable them to understand all these things and also to be proficient enough to face these competitive examinations and to crack them. And when I say to crack the examination, it means to gather more momentum, to gather more confidence, and to gather more energy so that to say to ourselves that we are second to none. And today, Mr. Verghese has done a marvelous job of elaborating, enlightening, and bringing all the things which are related to clear this examination, which happens to be called as NET. Yes, cracking NET is equal to 10. If you go the other way around, NET is equal to 10. So means the person who has cracked NET will again have the energy of 10 people together. So that's what the chain is required. If one is doing this, then he must also bring the other person in. So this should be an open-ended chain. So all of us, those who are here, can join together and make this particular examination as one of the easiest examination if we all join together. And that's why we always say coming together is a beginning, and the beginning has been done. Keeping together is progress. We all must come together and keep together, and then working together is success. So let us all work together. If we work together, then we will gather many more things. So that's why the basic essence of life is not working alone, but working as a team. And the full form of team is together everyone achieves more. So let us all achieve more being a team, so that we can even interact with each other, collaborate with each other, and also to speak about what we are doing so that we can understand what others are doing. So in that way, it's really helpful. And I must congratulate Dr. Jayanti for taking this kind of an initiative and organizing this kind of an event for 2 days so that we are reaching the students. I always believe it's not the teaching which is very important. What is more important than teaching is reaching. The moment you reach, teaching is always an automatic process. And that's what iSpell is doing today. So thank you very much, Dr. Jayanti, for bringing Dr. Verghese on the platform and also making all the students aware of these examinations. And most importantly, this examination becomes the most important examination for the people and the students, those who are aspiring to become the assistant professors, or they are going towards research as JRF. So thank you very much for doing this kind of a wonderful job with the help of iSpell Tamil Nadu Forum. And congratulations, Mr. Verghese, for doing a wonderful job, and also to enlighten all these students and making them aware of various small things which becomes more important in the days to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Ghanshyam sir, I request you to present the certificate, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I request you to present the certificates for the resource person.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
let
the
me share
certificate
the
is there.
screen. Sir, I'm presenting, sir.
Okay, right. Did you share the screen, ma'am?
Sir, yes, sir, I'm sharing, sir.
Okay, right.
Sir, just a minute, sir. Is that visible, sir?
I think to me it's not visible. I don't know for others whether it's visible or not. Is it visible?
Just a minute, sir. Network.
No, sir.
No, it's not visible, ma'am. Yes.
Now it is visible, sir?
Yeah, make it a full screen, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes, this is a flyer for today's and tomorrow's event to crack NET JRF. So this certificate we present to Mr. Verghese for his enlightening deliberation on how to crack NET, get set, go. So Mr. K.M. Verghese, this certificate goes to you as a token of love and gratitude from iSpell Tamil Nadu Forum.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for enlightening the session, sir.
Thank you so much, the organizer, for organizing such a wonderful program for the learners. Wish you all the best for the tomorrow's event too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So thank you, ma'am, for giving me the opportunity.
So we have the formal vote of thanks, sir.
Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others, says Cicero. I would like to invite Dr. P. Balashanmuga Devi, Assistant Professor of English, Associate Professor of English, APC Mahalakshmi College for Women, Thoothukudi, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mageshini. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And it is definitely a blessed day today that we have been able to collaborate with Sri Ramasamy Naidu Memorial College, Satur, and ISPEL for this wonderful session. I repeatedly throughout this session, I was recalling Sir Francis Bacon's verse saying that knowledge itself is power. And also, I just came to my mind that a man who has education and a complete control of his life by using the strength of knowledge, as well a person who is able to pass it on to the future generation, makes man more powerful. And today, this entire forum stands so power-packed. I congratulate Dr. Jayanti for having thought of such a wonderful session, and I also congratulate and thank ISPEL for standing by her to go ahead with such a useful session. In today's post-pandemic scenario, we have a plethora of webinars where we find it is a wonderful opportunity for us indeed. That is the silver lining in a dark cloud, let us say, but later on it has turned out to be a blessing that we can reach out to people and get to know things which might not have been possible in our own physical environment. And today, I was just recalling how I cleared my SLET exams 20 years ago and how things have changed and evolved these days. And it was a very happy occasion and a very pleasing one too, listening to today's keynote speaker, Mr. K.M. Varghese from St. Joseph's College, Trichy. It was a very poised presentation, sir. It was indeed food for thought. And I was like, I thought if I can really take up NET once again, with a guidance like yours, I think I definitely stand a very strong chance to clear it again. Though I do not have the requirement right now, but it was so inspirational. I was wondering, why don't I too take this up and try my hands in it? So definitely this is going to be a boon. Listening to you today would have been one of a boon for our undergraduate and postgraduate participants of this wonderful virtual conference. You took it almost like a workshop. It was so interactive, and it was a very one-to-one connectivity established in such a beautiful way. Thank you, Mr. Varghese. And I thank Dr. Jayanti for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And I feel blessed that our students also have been given a platform to participate in this session. And I also congratulate the MC for the very cool way in which she organized it. I congratulate the entire team, and we all indeed look forward to tomorrow's session with much pleasure and happiness. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your sweet words. That was really encouraging, ma'am. Here we end up the session. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, dealing with literary theories. Thank you, one and all, for making the session a successful one. Thank you so much. I'll be sharing WhatsApp link now. Please give me a couple of minutes. I'll share the WhatsApp link. Mm.